Hello and welcome. My name is Eva, and today I'm doing an exploration on a subject very important to me, and I hope if you're here it's also important to you. It is all about how American women at this time in 2024 are choosing to vote and why they're choosing to vote that way, and what can be done by people like me and you who care about this subject to help more women come into the truth about the history of women and their power and a fuller embrace of their history and their power and excitement for their future as liberated and strong and still holding the values that they care about. I'm not looking to change people. I'm looking to illuminate what is true of our past and our present so that we can have a better future for everyone. I have a personal belief that women hold a lot more control than any of us give women credit for, meaning it's not the kind of control or power that we're used to thinking of, but it is still a power that changes circumstances, that changes the course of history. There's that old saying that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, or something like that. And I always took that to mean that the women who are in the background doing the caregiving actually have a lot of power over how the world operates. That's not to say, though, that women should go back to only being caregivers. But it does mean that there are a lot of soft types of power that we have as women that we don't necessarily take into full consideration or take full charge of, plus all that we can bring into the workplace and into positions of leadership, such as the presidency, that have yet to be seen and appreciated. So enough of the talk about it. I want to get into some cards. I will be asking my guides and our guides to bring in information, ideas, truths, their history, and so forth, and the history of women who have lived on this planet, and especially women who've lived in America in times past, to illuminate the situation that we have here and now. This is a tarot deck that my guides actually advised me to use for this reading. And I'm sure it's a controversial deck to people out there who don't have an interest in tarot or an interest in things of the occult. But it's also a very sweet deck as well. It has, I think, interesting messages for this. So we'll see what comes out of this. This is the Lilifer Tarot. I'll write that down below or on the screen or something. But it is fairly new to my collection, and it's the one that my guides wanted to speak through, so as well as a few other decks that we'll use to add to the reading. I'm going to start by laying out 4 groups of cards, and those 4 groups, I'm thinking, will show us sort of a boiled down idea of 4 different kinds of women voters in America at this time. 4 is just the number that I felt like going with. It's not exhaustive by any means, but I think it's enough to work with. And then we'll also look at what we all have in common. What would you like to show me? Spirit guides invited to this reading. Invite in spirit guides here that are here for the highest good of all, operating in the light and in truth. And only those guides aligned with our highest good and the principles of truth, wisdom, beauty, justice, grace, goodness, love, mercy, peace, joy, and life. Please show us something about different groups of women voters and why we vote the way we do. Let me make sure these are all on the screen. Okay, it looks pretty good from where I'm sitting. First group. Three of Swords is our main card, qualified by Two of Swords. So this group of women are being, these are all voters. This group of women voters is coming from a place of mental and spiritual and emotional difficulties. We call this the heartbreak card. It's a card of your past pain that you haven't yet worked through. You haven't yet got out from underneath it. And it's keeping you in a state of indecision or not trusting yourself. So the way they vote, here we have the Ace of Cups. Okay, they're an emotional voter. They're triggered. They vote with whatever triggers them. So they're not necessarily looking for the best candidate on policy or any kind of history. It's just what is emotionally stirring them at this time, and that's how they're voting. This group of voters over here, this first main card is the Two of Wands, qualified by the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, this group feels like they are an inspired group of women. They're very, I feel like they're very attuned to the practical world, to what they want to build, to who they are, to like what they're here to do. They may be very politically motivated, or they may just be very practical and very like business minded, or they may be involved in various organizations, and so they are inspired to like choose the future, choose the best way forward, perhaps for their self-interests, or just because they are so involved and they can really see that certain things have to happen in the government in order for them to like build their businesses, for instance, or have schools go the way they want schools to go, that kind of thing. And how they vote. Oh, we have the Two of Cups. So we have the Ace here, and here we have the Two of Cups. They're looking for alignment in their values and in their dreams. They're looking for a candidate who aligns with their values and their dreams to like do this together. They see themselves as already a very capable person, and they're looking for a candidate who is as capable as they are to join with them and run things the way they need to be run. They're looking for that connection. It has to feel good in their heart. They have to feel good about the candidate in their heart. They have to feel like, oh yeah, this person is like me. I see myself in that person. I see that they want the same things I want. Still an emotional choice though. Third group of voters. Oh, Judgment card. That's a major arcana. It's our first major arcana. Qualified by, we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay. So this group may be even more aware than the other two about the bigger picture and how, where the country has been historically, what this critical time means in our country, that we have you know, Kamala Harris running as the, you know, potentially the first woman president, and, you know, versus a man who's gotten into legal trouble regarding women, regarding his businesses, regarding other things as well, you know, his time in office. I feel like these women, are weighing where they want the country to go. They are aware of the bigger picture. They do feel the burden on them of choosing well. And they're also bothered by both how women have been left out in the past. You know, women only got the vote 100 years ago. And even after that, women's rights were a hard-won battle. So these are the women who are very much acquainted and aware of the hard battle it's been to get to this point. You can see they really want cooperation and equality. These are the women who would vote for the ERA. And how they vote, 8 of Swords. Okay, yeah, they're really voting against being constrained. They're voting to keep out of, that's the whole we will not go back, you know, subgroup of voters. We are not going back. We will not be held captive to men's say so. You know, we are going to keep our right to vote. We are going to keep our right to contraception and abortion, reproductive rights, health care, all of it. We're going to shatter the glass ceiling and have a woman president. That's who these voters are. Okay, the fourth group of voters, we have the 7 of Swords, qualified by the 8 of Wands. I'm wondering, to some degree, I feel that these are the women who feel the vote was stolen the last time. These are the women who are under this battering ram of misinformation. And yes, I am someone who believes that the 2020 election in America was a secure election, that it was fair, that the claims of fraud, the claims of fraud have all been unproven. They've all been shown to be debunked, and that those who have been caught doing any kind of fraud have all been on the side of the Republicans, saying that it was the Democrats doing the stealing, when actually it looks as if, very much so, that it was Trump and a lot of other people involved in doing the stealing, like Tina Peters from Colorado, who was just sentenced to years in prison for her actions. So I feel like there's a lot of women still who are under that belief system. You know, they're being hit with these lies, and that's how they're voting. They're voting from that place, and they feel charged up. They feel alarmed because the kind of misinformation that they're getting is alarming. It keeps them in a state of constant alarm, constant, you know, you have to fight this. How do they vote? We have the 5 of Cups here. That's interesting. I wonder how many of them actually are aware they're voting against their own interests, and it kind of bothers them. But it's a sorrow that they don't actually calculate, they don't actually let themselves feel, and then the rest of that feeling goes towards, oh my gosh, the Democrats are so evil, you know, oh my gosh, they're doing this, they're doing that, all the misinformation and lies that has been poured out on them, to think, oh, you know, it's so horrible out there. They're voting in a very emotional way too. 5 of Cups is a card of deep sorrows, of, you know, you just feel almost burdened by all the cares in the world. So that's interesting because, you know, I really do think a lot of people under this misinformation, they do care. They do want to do what's right. They're just being told that the people who are actually, you know, doing the wrong things are the ones who are the heroes, and vice versa. They're hearing that the people trying to do the right thing are the enemy. So, yeah. So that's a kind of a survey of our voters here, and I would say that feels true. I mean, this is kind of who I see out here, making themselves heard. Not this group so much. This group, I feel like, you know, the ones who are triggered and kind of indecisive and voting from a place of like raw emotion. I can't say I hear from them as much, but they're out there voting, I believe it. You do sometimes see their comments and you're like, really? You don't have anything more in your mind, you know, about the candidates, about the policies, about the history of this party and what they've done, you know, what they've proven themselves to be. It's just this one little thing triggers you, so you're going to vote. That's a little hard for me because I probably fall more into this camp. So I want to see everybody, you know, take it seriously, know the big picture, keep us women out of the constraints that have been on us historically. But I love my sisters, all of them, and you know, we all need to love each other and help lift each other to being our better selves and help our sisters come out from this place that keeps them trapped, right? And help our sisters in this area too, where they're trapped under misinformation. Now, that's a harder one to win because, you know, it's still emotional. You know, you listen to people talk on this subject about what it's like to be trapped in that, and it's not logical. It has to be won through the heart. You have to win those people back through the heart. And that's just a slower process. It's a much harder process. Okay. So I'm going to pull a couple more cards on what we have in common. Oops, I think I'm losing a card. I'm losing some space here. Let me do this. Make some space here. Do I want tarot? Yeah, I guess I'll go with this for now. Okay, what we women have in common, all us women voters. What we women have in common as American women voters alive at this time, ages 18 and up, citizens that are allowed to vote. What do we have in common with each other, our sisters? What do you show me, spirit guides, that we have in common with each other? Oh, this one was, okay, so there was one or two that were in reverse in the deck, and as I shuffled them, I saw that the heart was upside down on a couple of them. I thought, oh, I wasn't planning to have any reversals. The Six of Swords is an interesting one. To come in up in reverse or upright, that's interesting because in the upright, it would mean wanting to move away from upheaval to a more settled and peaceful existence, moving out of rough waters into smooth waters, leaving behind a difficult situation and moving to a better, you know, more prosperous and peaceful situation. I think that is fair. I think every woman, even the women we may feel like the most caught up in disinformation, we still all want prosperity and peace. Okay, and the fact that it was in reverse perhaps means that we may not agree on how to get there. We don't agree on how to get there, but we want that. Oh wow, here we have the Queen of Wands. So this is, I think we all deep down at least, we have a lot of feelings about an empowered woman, a woman who's in her own fire. She has her own passion and she's not afraid of it. If you see here, I don't know if you can tell, in gold is a triangle that's pointed down and another one here that's pointed up, another triangle. That's the suit of fire, that's its symbol over here, and then down is the suit of water, because all queens are associated with water in the tarot, and then she happens to be the queen or water bearer of fire. So she has this wonderful mix of water and fire. And I think women in general want to be balanced, and we want to have both strong feelings that we can trust, as well as an empowered spirit that we can bring about action. We can act on our beliefs. And in the upright, the Queen of Wands is a very effective and charismatic and confident woman. And some women are triggered by that, not because it's necessarily bad, but because it stirs up things in them that they don't understand. It stirs up feelings of inadequacy. It stirs up maybe times when the men in their lives told them that a woman like that is a bad woman. She's just not trustworthy. She's a Jezebel. It stirs up feelings of, yes, definitely inadequacy, and fear. Maybe fear because of the unknown. We've never seen a woman have a lot of power. A lot of us don't have empowered women around us. And so she's an unknown quantity. We don't know how she might do things. And some of us have been hurt by powerful women. If we did have a powerful woman in our life, not necessarily a woman who's in a balanced state of power, though. Her power may have run away from her. She may have used it abusively. If we're afraid of her, then it's because she was using it abusively. And so in reverse, some women may want to move away from this kind of thing, right? We have to be aware of that. We have to be aware of just how people are, even women, are struggling with this concept of a woman in charge. We've definitely been taught in our religions that men should be in charge, that women in charge is an abomination. So there's just a lot of difficulty and thorniness around that subject, but I do believe that we will keep untangling ourselves from that and wrestling with that as a nation and as a group of women. Okay, now let me think about where we want to go next with this. I think the next thing we're going to do is, let me take a picture of these just for reference. Okay, I took a picture. I'm kind of wanting to leave them up here. Maybe I can. I want to just, before I do that, let me just out of curiosity see what this card would have been. Interesting. Page of Cups. That's interesting. Like, how I pulled the card here for how we vote. If this is what we have in common, then what would be like the common vote? Or what would be motivating us? You see cups here, you see cups here, you see cups here. The Page of Cups is she's the youngest of her suit. She's of the king and the queen and the knight. The page is the youngest. But it doesn't have to be about age. It's a state of being. It's being young at heart and open in your heart. Being open and trusting, like a young child is. But a young child is also open to the best in things in life. They believe that little girls and little boys are both, part of the world and belong there. And there's no difference. There's not that there's no difference. It's that boys are not better than girls. We don't start off in life thinking, as little girls, we don't start thinking, oh, boys are better than us, unless we're told that. That's not inherent in our being. And so I think what we all have in common as women is that we were once young girls, and we were once innocent. And I believe if we all could go back to our 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old selves, especially before any kind of trauma happened to us, before any person betrayed us, before we were sexually abused or all those other things that trigger us. And yes, I had to go there because it is all too common, and our sisters are hurting from this. The Page of Cups is what we have in common before all those things were done to us, before the world clawed us and left us with wounds. And our girl selves inside of us are trying to find the right way forward. And it's so painful for a lot of us. It's such hard work. And it can take a lot of years, actually, to untangle all the things that have been laid over our innocent selves, our truest and purest self. But that is the work that we can be doing. That is the way forward for us. That is how we do the right thing and vote in the right leaders, is to get free from all the dogma, doctrines, other things that have been laid over our innocent girlhood selves, and get back to who we are at our innermost self, our heart of hearts. And we can see that in each other. We need to be seeing that in the other women around us, no matter the woman's age and experience and political affiliation. We need to be seeing our sisters as the little girls that they once were, and having compassion for that little girl and helping her come back to the surface, helping her do the work of working through all the trauma that's been done, even in a household where there wasn't abuse and there wasn't dogma stuffed down that girl's throat. The society that we live in, through television and music and all the things that we are exposed to, that tells us that we are something other than what we really are deep down. It tells us all sorts of things about us, but we have to rediscover our true self deep down. Okay. Whew, I love that. Whew. I'm trying to decide whether to clear the cards off or not. It's so hard for me to move them off when they give us so much information. But I did want to get to the part of the reading where we look to see more about how we go from where we go from here. All right. Yeah, just take a look there and we'll clear them off. But remember, this Page of Cups, this Queen of Wands, and the Six of Swords here. Okay. Thank you so much for showing us who we are, and why we are the way we are, and how we can help each other. How we can help each other, woman to woman. Whew, yeah. Thank you, Spirit Guides. I'm going to do past, present, future for a few minutes here. Please show me, Spirit Guides, from the top 6 cards. Past, the present, the future for women in America on our vote. Past, present, future, please. When I say future, I'm referring to like the next 4 years, let's say. Next 4 years, until the next presidential election. What do you want to show me about American women and how we vote? Past. I'm going to do the present like this. Future. Past. We have... Okay, we got the card in this deck that makes this deck unique. The Lucifer card. I know. Let me just stop here a minute. I don't have a practice that includes Lucifer. Some people do. The creator of this deck probably does. But I do follow a few people who talk about this as an entity. And so I've learned some things here and there. And I don't expect my audience to have much of an opinion on this, except maybe fear and revulsion, or possibly you have a bright spot. So I don't even know a lot about the legend of Lucifer, except, biblically, I'm not even sure he's mentioned in the Bible. Like this stuff is, a lot of things have come up around the Jewish and Christian religions that, what do we call that? Gnostic and so forth. Like there's a lot of beliefs out there. And one of those beliefs is that Lucifer is a son of God or an angel. He led a rebellion, right, against the idea of Father as God as Father, and that he was sent out of heaven. He was shunned and what's the word? I want to say dispelled from heaven. That sounds funny to me for some reason. But and then he's known as the morning star and all this. In this deck, he's actually a card of empowerment. Let me see if I can read what she said about him. Where is he? He's at the end of the majors, I think. Yeah. Lucifer belongs with the masculine principle and brings forth his gifts of desire, vitality, self-actualization, and pride. An ally to the enlightened man within, Lucifer teaches that seeking to fulfill one's desires isn't selfish, and any time spent judging others is wasted. When Lucifer appears in a reading, he is an empowering influence. You are being invited to assert yourself and take action in the direction of your goals. So in the past, for American women in our vote, I'll get to that then in a minute. Let's see, we also have the Knight of Swords, or Air, coming up with that. All right, so one thing that's coming through is just how enlightened men, it must have been enlightened men, because they had all the power once upon a time. And I'm talking about even as recently as early 1900s, 20th century. Men had all the voting power, and the enlightened men among them, well, because of all the suffragettes, all the women out there fighting for the right to vote, they allowed women the right to vote, right? So we have these enlightened men who have helped, or not helped, but they've gotten out of women's way, basically. They've said, you know what, I'm not afraid of women. I love women. I trust women in general, and I'm going to help them have power. This is because women are humans, and I'm a humane being. I'm a humane man. So men seeing that women are not lesser and saying, yes, we welcome you to the table. We welcome you to, it's better to have you here than to not have you here. That accelerated women to the table, brought women into voting power. And I think we can be thankful for that, but we also owe it to all the women who fought for that. I feel like we have a woman here taking that. Like, you open the door, great, I am in. The women who have been fighting to be heard, it's been an uphill battle. If you don't know, then study some women's history. It's just, we have so many heroes in our past. And I just want to take this moment to just kind of just remember all the women who've gone before us, who have worked so hard, so self-sacrificingly, so that we could have the vote, so that we could be here, having a voice even, not just not just kept out of view, but given a platform, given a way to speak. And that is under siege. That is definitely under siege right now in this election. In the present, the Hermit, and the Seven of Wands. Wow. The Hermit is a card of going within and going to the mountaintop to look within to your own wisdom. It's not just about hiding out, although I think there are some women who are hiding out. Excuse me a second. Water break. There are some women who are not voting. There have always been people who don't pay attention and don't want that burden and don't trust the system and just, have too much going on. Maybe they have, maybe they're homeless. Maybe they have, a lot on their plate, and voting is just the least of their concerns. But for the rest of us, it's about trying to figure out what's true, trying to figure out what we believe without being influenced by others. And we also have those who are trying to defend against the onslaught. The Seven of Wands is the hero up against the other army coming at him. And in this case, it's a heroine trying to defend the rights we already have, the freedoms we already have. We do need more women to join that fight and not just Not just try to look within or get out of the way or like ignore it, but come down from the mountain and cast a vote. Cast a vote for progress for women. All right, future. The Fool. That's another major arcana. So we have basically a major here, and a major here. All majors. That's interesting. We got Lilith on this side. That's so cool. Look at this balance here. That's what we need. We need balance. It's not about women getting the vote or women being allowed to vote. We're human beings. It's about bringing things back to balance. Women bring a different perspective. Just like older people bring a different perspective. Allowing 60-year-olds and 70-year-olds to vote is not something that we argue about. Or 80-year-olds or 90-year-olds or 100-year-olds, they get to vote. Because they're human beings. Women are human beings. Okay, let me read the Lilith card. Oh, that's so neat. We are definitely being heard and seen and supported by our guides. Lilith belongs with a feminine principle and brings forth her gifts of passion, independence, self-love, and bravery. An ally to the fiery woman within, Lilith teaches that every transformation requires a sacrifice, and positive change cannot be achieved without pain. When Lilith appears in a reading, she is an aspiring influence. You are being invited to disenfranchise yourself from the expectations of others and dance to the beat of your own drum. It's funny that they use the word disenfranchise because we speak of that is a word used in voting lingo. You either have the right to vote or you are disenfranchised. To not have the right to vote is to be disenfranchised, left out of the power structures. Wow, so the Fool and Lilith is two majors together. I'm getting chills over that. This is a new start, a new era. This is optimism. It's something we haven't seen before. A woman in charge. Lilith is a great example of that. Again, the biblical, and it's not even in the Bible. Well, if she's mentioned, it's very small, very small. But again, she comes out of esoteric Judaism, tales and folklore around the first wife, Adam's first wife. That there are beliefs that it wasn't Eve, it was a woman named Lilith, and because she wanted to have as much rights as Adam, she was cast out of the garden and became a demon and all these other things. This is just what happens whenever women have tried to have power in a patriarchal society. They are demonized and shunned. Well, no more of that, because this is a new era for women and women voters. This is very good to see. And again, I do not follow, these as guides, but they are archetypes, okay? Try not to get too caught up in whether they're real entities or whether they're demonic, because they're not demonic. They are archetypes of enlightenment and inspired power. I love seeing those balanced like that. What a blessing. Okay, so we have some idea of that. Let's just pull a few cards here. Whoops. This will just be to close out the reading with a little bit of animal wisdom and plant wisdom. You can always use a little more connection with nature to guide us back to what is true and solid and wonderful and healthy. It's medicine. What kind of medicine do we have as women and women voters here in America? What kind of medicine do the plants and animals and our guides have for us this night, or this time, I should say, for this subject? Let me try that again. That didn't work. Okay, let me straighten these up a bit. I'll go back to this. My hand is starting to hurt, so I can't quite hold the cards the way I like to. I'll do this way. Let's just get let's get 2 cards, please, Spirit Guides. 2 cards for us this night. As we grapple with why women in America vote the way they do and what women need going forward. I really feel there's a strong need for us to help other women come out from the bonds and the dogma and all the things that have been keeping us from. You know, it talked about the empowered woman here, the fiery woman. That is the Queen of Wands that came up in the center before. It's that woman that maybe we kind of aspired to at our very youngest self. You know, the girl who could get on her bike and ride down the street because she felt like it. The girl who could dig up the earthworms and watch them wriggle around on her hand. The girl who read books. The girl who told stories. The girl who, you know, sat at the campfire and roasted her marshmallows because she wanted to. The girl who went fishing. You know, all the things that a girl might do. That's her fiery self telling her that that's fine. That's what I want to do. That's good. And then somewhere along the way it comes out, well, that's not what girls should do, or, ooh, you're ugly, or, ooh, this and that. And a girl loses her natural confidence. She loses her natural fiery self. And Lilith here shows us that this is what we need to embrace again, our true natures. Not to do anything bad with them, not to hurt anyone with them, but because they're as beautiful as digging up an earthworm and seeing how it moves, or taking that worm and fishing with it. I mean, all of these things are perfectly fine and good things that aren't harmful. It's just that when a woman's doing it somehow, or a girl's doing it, somehow it's like, oh, we got to find something wrong with that, and we got to tell her she can only do this and that. No, that era is over. If we help it be over, if we want it to be over, we have to help fellow women get out from that programming. What do you have for us today, Spirit Guides? The Finch and Peach, romance with determination. Wow. Oh, well, I am a romantic, meaning I believe in the power of beauty, love, kindness, goodness, grace, all these things. I believe in those things as a way to lift up humanity. I believe in travel and meeting new people and trying new foods and opening our heart to our senses. I should say opening our heart and our senses to the wider world, because there's so much beauty and goodness in the world. And letting our emotions have a say without letting them run wild and run amok. Bringing our emotions back into a healthy balance. Balanced with our spirit, balanced with our mind, balanced with our bodies, balanced with common sense, balanced with our knowledge and history. Romance is a place where women tend to dominate. Women tend to understand romance. We understand how to make a room more beautiful. We understand, not all of us, we're not all gifted in the same ways, but we understand in general that there's power in being gentle. There's power in being kind. There's power in being lovely. And these are some of the soft things I was talking about at the opening, where I mentioned, the hand that rocks the cradle. But it's not meant to be manipulative, and that's where it gets a bad rap. That is its shadow side, where women use their loveliness and their romantic wiles to kind of manipulate others, especially men. And I think men tend to be afraid of that, and so they just want to keep women in their place. But we have to not apologize for our gifts in this area, while also not using them manipulatively. Determination, the Ram and the Dahlia here, speaks to our determination to have the rights that we were born with, human rights, to not be treated as second-class citizens, and to continue to uphold what our foremothers gained for us, and even our forefathers gained for us, to continue to uphold that fight and to enter this new era, to help others enter this new era, to claim that space. The other thing I want to say about the finch and the peach here is that, women for too long have been subjected to this idea that I'll just vote the way my husband votes, or, oh, my boyfriend would be mad at me if I voted for this person, so I'll vote. That is not romance. That is not love. That's fear. It's not the expansion of your heart. It's not an acceptance of who you are. Love does not ask you to change who you are. It asks you to be more of who you are. It comes behind you and supports you in all the ways that you are a good person. And you're a good person according to what's inside of you, so you can choose how to vote. It's not about what other people think you ought to do. That's also coming through on that card, and all the things that kind of go with that. And then for this one, I just want to read from the guidebook a moment here, because I think it's really neat. It says, the ram and dahlia is a card of action. The ram charges up the mountain with steady determination, removing any obstacles with its strong horns. Called the Queen of the Autumn Garden, the dahlia flower is known for its persistence. It produces flowers in the summer and well into the fall, outlasting most other blooms. And my neighbor has a dahlia that is still blooming. It's really cool. You have the power to accomplish your wildest dreams. While others may tire or lose interest, you are persistent and will see your ambitions through. In reverse, this card means your stubbornness is hindering your progress. While ramming through may seem like the best and quickest way to achieve success, some endeavors require flexibility, regular reassessment, or help from others. What am I most determined to accomplish? When have I worked best alone, or when have I benefited from another's help? So yes, as women seeking to, one, elect a woman president, and to help our sisters out of darkness and out of confusion and out of bondage, we need to persist and be brave and climb those mountains and overcome those hurdles. We also need to not be just so pushy that we are unpalatable, that we can't be heard. We need to find a balance. And some of us are going to be better at the one, pushing, and others are going to be better at the, hey, let me help you up this mountain. I'm looking behind me and I'm seeing who I can help up. Some of us are going to be better at the one than the other, and we need everyone doing what they can. But I love that Queen of the Autumn Garden. That's what I'd like to say of our next president when she's elected in November. That's my wish. And I hope that we all can come into our own queenhood. We can all be that Queen of Wands that somewhere in our psyche we have lost or possibly regained and are trying to understand and wrestle with. We're trying to help others gain their inner Queen of Wands again and not apologize when we are in our own Queen of Wands power. I think that will do it for this reading. Thank you so much if you've been with me and listened to this, and I hope you've taken away something helpful. I would love to hear your comments, your suggestions, your questions below, and please do like this video to help it get out to more viewers if that is something you'd like to see happen. Until next time though, I wish you all the best. Please take care and go in peace. Until next time, bye-bye.